are all gathered on UGA's campus.
That's really concerning to me.
Some UGA students are worried about after-hours security and parking decks. Find out next what students are saying and if UGA has plans to increase security.
ACC police have recently begun carrying tasers, and reporter Savannah Wilson will explain their taser training coming up.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College of the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening, I'm Mary Grace Shaw.
And I'm Valerie Burgos. Welcome to Grady Newsource. Some University of Georgia students are upset after the Student Government Association posted a controversial letter today. In it, the SGA letter says it takes what it calls a firm stance against racial injustice after witnessing the recent events at the University of Missouri. Reporter Allison Goins spoke with students who are passionately following the events. These students feel the events there are either directly or indirectly impacting the UGA campus. Allison, why do they think that?
There are two different groups of people upset about two different things. The letter posted to social media earlier this morning was meant to uphold UGA's emphasis of diversity on its campus. But almost immediately after the letter was posted, comments began appearing on the social media app Yik Yak, and some of these comments were extreme criticisms. I spoke with two different students who had varying opinions on the letter and on the events in Missouri, but they did agree on one thing, and that's that UGA and Mizzou are two very similar schools. So similar, in fact, that many students believe they face the same problems regarding racial injustice.
This easily could have happened here, but the only difference...
UGA and Missouri are the same. At least that's what UGA student Stephanie Lindo believes. She wants to raise awareness for the social injustices at Missouri that have been spotlighted in the news recently. That's why her sorority organized this display of support today on UGA's campus. These students are supporting the protesters in Missouri because they feel they've also felt remnants of racism at their own school.
I feel like at UGA it's very, very passive. It's very passive aggressive. It's not like in your face, but it's like really, really slight.
Stephanie supports this letter posted to the UGA Student Government Association social media accounts, standing with the cause at Missouri. Not everyone agrees, though. Posts began flooding the social media app Yik Yak, some passionately criticizing SGA's letter. Some posts were too explicit to include here. Others didn't understand why some people were upset. Some students shared Taylor Metz's opinion that UGA should just stay out of it.
Definitely didn't feel like it necessarily spoke for my point of view or where a lot of other folks necessarily are coming from. Definitely felt like it was sort of bandwagon activism, a lot of just a knee-jerk reaction to make sure we were on the cutting edge of being politically correct so as not offend anybody, and it felt rushed.
Stephanie Lindo is still glad that the student government at UGA is acknowledging that there is a problem. She also praises UGA's administration for speaking up in the past about a specific racial injustice.
UGA actually spoke up about it, and they actually reprimanded the people that did it.
Earlier this afternoon, the University of Missouri announced that it had named Black law professor Mike Middleton to serve as interim president. Missouri said Middleton is the best person for the job because he has 30 years leadership experience on Mizzou's campus, as well as serving in the past as a civil rights attorney. Reporting live for Grady Newsource, I'm Allison Goins.
Thanks, Allison.
Students at the University of Georgia are now speaking out about security concerns on campus after a woman was kidnapped from the Tate parking deck. It happened early Tuesday morning. Reporter Kara Murphy found out more about what students are worried about and if UGA is planning to increase security. She's at the parking deck now. Kara?
Yeah, right behind me is a Tate deck where the kidnapping happened. Now, if you look a little closer over here, you can see the buildings where parking attendants let people in and out of the parking decks. Some students are worried because there's no one to monitor those buildings after 11 p.m. when many students are still studying at the MLC. Hundreds of cars and trucks enter the Tate parking deck every single day, and Catherine Fagan drives one of them.
So it's usually at night, and I usually don't leave until like 2 a.m.
Police arrested this man, Michael King, in connection with the reported kidnapping that happened at the Tate Center early Tuesday. Some students at UGA are now more worried about after-hours security.
I think they should have more security measures, maybe cameras that are on 24/7 or a security guard from campus police.
Fagan is also concerned because UGA did not alert students that a kidnapping happened on campus.
Usually they tell us about it, but there has not been an email.
Exactly.
I haven't heard at all.
Fagan is one of the student resource assistants for the UGA student government. She said she talked to her director today to try and talk about new ideas for security measures for the parking lots to help students feel safer. Reporting live at the Tate Deck for Grady Newsource, I'm Kara Murphy.
We tried to ask the UGA Public Affairs Office and Parking Services about security, but Public Affairs said they were too busy for an interview or any information on security. However, UGA Parking Services did say they have cameras in several areas in the Tate parking deck, and their website states that they have UGA police routinely patrol the parking decks.
A wreck this morning on Highway 316 adds to the long and growing list of accidents on this dangerous highway. Reporter Anna Clark is live in Barrow County where today's wreck took place. Anna, what can you tell us about the accident?
Around 8 o'clock this morning, a car turning left here onto 316 was hit by a car traveling eastbound on this highway towards Athens. Barrow County Traffic Lieutenant David Whitty says that this is the most dangerous intersection in all of Barrow County. He says you can expect up to 3 wrecks here at this intersection every day, but thankfully this year none of them so far have been fatal. Both drivers in the wreck this morning did suffer from minor injuries, thankfully, but the number of fatalities on state highways in Barrow County just this year is staggering. 12. That's the number of people that have died this year alone in Barrow County crashes. That is quadruple the amount of people killed on the road last year. Sergeant Whitty says because Highway 316 is such a dangerous highway, his team is doing its best to keep the road as safe as possible, mainly by monitoring speed.
I do have a traffic unit that's out there heavily enforcing the speed limit on 316. So, I mean, that helps out slowing it down. I mean, my traffic guys, we don't even pull them over until they're at least doing 15 above the speed limit.
Whitty says although Highway 316 and other state highways are dangerous, his deputies actually respond to more wrecks on back roads. But the deadly accidents are still happening on highways such as 316.
As you can see on our map, there's actually been 2 that have been killed on 316. One was a failure to yield when turning left, and that was at Highway 81 and 316. And the other one was a texting and driving at Kilcrease in 316.
House Bill 170, which passed in July, is funding a $1 billion and 10-year-long project that will make intersections along 316 safer. Until then, Whitty says taking extra caution while driving along the highway is the best way to help keep you safe.
And instead of just checking your left and right once, check it multiple times. When you're sitting at red lights, when the light turns green, have patience. Don't immediately go through the intersection. Check to make sure the cars are stopping, because that's where a lot of the problems are coming from.
Whitty says he and his wife try to avoid this intersection as much as possible. The number of deaths across the state of Georgia from driving are up 17% this year, and most of them are occurring on highways just like Highway 316. Live from Barrow County, I'm Anna Clark.
Thank you, Anna. Be sure to continue checking GradyNewsSource.com next week for our continued investigation of the dangers of Highway 316.
It's going to be easier for the public to use. It's going to be easier for the professionals that need to come here in the criminal justice system.
We have your first look at the new Athens Clark County Jail next.
Hi, I'm Charles Davis, Dean of Grady College.
And I'm Adeline Kennerly, Miss Georgia, and we are excited to be one of many organizations participating in a Hunger Bowl food drive.
From October 30th to November 13th, drop off your canned or boxed food items anywhere on the first 4 floors of Grady College in our specially marked bins.
If you don't want to haul big boxes of cans into Grady, we'll have volunteers at these times in the psychology parking lot to take your donations.
Go Dogs, go Hunger Bowl.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
3 officers who responded to a noise complaint on the University of Alabama's campus are now on administrative leave after video was circled around social media showing what some are calling excessive force.
Here in Athens, the Athens-Clarke County Police Department were issued tasers just this spring. Reporter Savannah Wilson went to the Athens-Clarke County Police Department today where the training for these tasers take place.
This video from the University of Alabama Campus Police Department has gone viral. Justin Gregory says he hasn't watched the full clip of the Tuscaloosa incident, but emphasizes that tasers are carried to add another option for an officer besides a gun.
I think it's just very important for them to understand where this device and what role it plays in use of force in law enforcement. We have to make sure that it's used the right way.
It is here at the Athens-Clarke County Police Department that 60 police officers have been trained so far to carry tasers. Now, the training is very intense and involves the officer getting tased himself, but since carrying tasers can be pretty controversial, Justin Gregory, the training administrator, conducted a community forum in the spring to explain to the community why carrying tasers is beneficial to officers and to the public to avoid events like Tuscaloosa happening here in Athens.
Through stress inoculation, which really focus on decision-making processes, the truth is actually using the device isn't that difficult. It's all the things that go around to the decision-making probably that's the most challenging to make sure you get right.
Gregory was formerly a captain at the UGA Campus Police Department where he played a role in bringing tasers to that department as well. The Athens-Clarke County Police began carrying tasers in July. Savannah Wilson, Grady Newsource.
85 more Athens-Clarke County officers will be trained to use these tasers. The police department says no officer carries a taser without being trained. Gregory says they plan to finish all officer training by the end of the year.
The new Athens-Clarke County Jail is opening its doors for the first time tomorrow. The construction has taken place for 2.5 years. A $64 million budget funded this construction. That money came from a special purpose local option sales tax. Grady Newsource takes you inside what Athens-Clarke County believes to be the most expensive jail in Northeast Georgia.
I've been on the jail design teams.
Chief Tommy York has been hard at work over the past few years helping design the new Athens-Clarke County Jail. It was designed to accommodate the growing number of inmates in the jail.
Expansion and reuse of some of our old facility will allow us to meet our space needs for at least 20 years into the future and hopefully longer.
The new jail has approximately 600 beds grouped into 9 different housing units. The units were placed strategically to provide efficiency.
Next to those units, we put the services that were most important for that specific group of inmates.
The units are now what are called direct supervision units. This means that all of the services that the inmates need throughout the day and week are available right in their units. Classrooms were added to the units to offer different programs.
It's going to allow us better opportunity to help our inmates improve their circumstances and try to learn things that will help them not come back in the future.
Visitors will no longer see inmates through a layer of glass. The new facility offers video visitation. Visitors can come to this room at the jail and video chat inmates from video cameras in the units.
It's going to be easier for the public to use. It's going to be easier for the professionals that need to come here in the criminal justice system. And it's going to be safer for the inmates.
We cannot interview any inmates because of security. Those inmates will make the transition from the old jail to the new jail this December. A ribbon-cutting ceremony will take place tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the new jail. Chief York says this is the best time for anyone to come and see the new jail.
Whether you're in Athens or Auburn, Alabama, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend. I'll have your full forecast next.
The mission of the Student Veterans Resource Center is to serve as the go-to location for wayfinding and entry into an array of services provided by the University of Georgia, and to offer wide-ranging support, advocacy, and a convenient respite for our student veterans.
You come in here and you can talk about some of the things that you may not normally be able to talk about with other students.
That has really kind of made the difference on my experience here at the university.
You are enabled and equipped to do things, and we honor you today.
Right there, that's your time.
And that's why.
Ellen, that's how much a kidney transplant. And I talked to a UGA swimmer who's.
Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay, but remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
And now, the weather.
It was such a beautiful day yesterday. It almost makes up for the little bit of rain we saw today.
Almost, but what I really wanted to know is what the weather's going to look like this weekend. Bliss?
Well, I can definitely tell you all about the weather this weekend, and I'll even let you know what it's going to look like in Auburn if you're heading there for the football game. But first, let's look at tonight's forecast. Now, we saw a little bit of rain earlier today, but that should all be gone by now. Clear skies with a low of 43 degrees, the sun setting just around 5:30. Now, moving into tomorrow, we're back to sunshine, high of 64 degrees with winds that could reach up to 15 miles per hour. Now, for all the football fans, UGA will face off against Auburn with a noon kickoff time in Auburn. Let's look at the weather. Now, really good news, especially if you're a dog fan. There's going to be sunshine all day. Now, if you're an early morning tailgater, it'll be a little chilly in the morning, about 45 degrees, but that should warm up at noon to around 60 degrees. Now, let's travel back to Athens for our 5-day forecast. Sunshine all around, as you can see, highs mostly in the 60s. Now, it is going to get chilly on Friday and Saturday, dipping into the 30s at night. This is going to lead to possible frost, so if you need to get up early on Saturday and Sunday, do that and make sure you defrost your car, but sleep in if you can. With your Northeast Georgia weather forecast, I'm Bliss Savage.
Find out what one local basketball team needs to do to make a repeat Final Four run, coming up after the break.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
The great outside.
We both love the outdoors.
So shiny. That's not a flower.
We both love geology.
Oh, look. An igneous one.
That's not a rock. And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
That's not a dog. Hanging out has been kind of fun.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
And now, sports.
Playoffs start this weekend for one local football conference. 32 teams will compete from as young as 6 all the way to 12 years old. You may follow high school and college football, but don't forget about the kids because some of these kids may potentially go pro. In fact, former Clark Central Gladiator and Atlanta Falcon Dante Robinson made his mark in this league. The 50-year-old Northeast Georgia Football Conference consists of 10 youth organizations from Athens. Melvin Hayes has been around the league for 20 of those years. He says the league is important, not because of football, but because it brings families together.
It is important to build relationships with young people. Coaches volunteer their time. You have dads who from time to time want to spend time with their children. So this gives them an opportunity to build those relationships and spend some quality time with their children.
Championships take place on November 22nd. The Northeast Georgia Football Conference also has a mentoring partnership with the University of Georgia. Check the Grady Newsource website to learn more about the league. The Cedar Shoals boys basketball team has some unfinished business. Losing by just 1 point in last year's Final Four is something on the back of everyone's mind. But, you know, new year, new me. A 67-22 scrimmage victory over North Oconee makes the team think it's heading in the right direction. But head coach Eldrico Thomas says they have some room for improvement before tipping off the season. Senior guard Jarek Mitchell is looking forward to head back to the Final Four after losing by a point to last year's champion in the semifinals. Mitchell says his team needs some work even though it dominated North Oconee in a scrimmage.
We got to work on our shooting. We ain't knock down shots like we usually do today, but it'll come.
The 5'8" guard made this shot with a simple flick of the wrist. Coach Eldrico Thomas says a win is a win, but his team has 2 days to clean up the mistakes.
We're just going to go look at the film and evaluate and see what's the biggest need, what do we need to work on the most, and just kind of work on those things, and then just repetition, repetition, repetition.
Mitchell finished the game with 13 points, 4 assists, and a steal here to add to his highlight reel. But it's preseason, and he wants his team to get back to the Final Four.
We saw little sparks today. We got to work some more. We'll see. We'll see.
Mitchell feels he can do better despite his 13 points. The Jaguars host Tucker at 7:30 on Saturday. For your sports, I'm Damian Reynolds.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Thanks for coming in for the interview.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right, we got your personal references, your resume, high school diploma or equivalent.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Yes.
It's right there.
Great.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
A new program to help students with disabilities get a college degree. The U.S. Department of Education is providing 5 years of startup funding and post-secondary program called Destination Dogs in the spring of 2017. This program will allow students with any form of disability receive a certificate of completion from the university, as well as to live on campus and get an education plan based on their interests and careers. The mother of one student with a disability says this program is the opportunity her son's been waiting for.
He has always loved UGA, and that's the only college he's ever wanted to go to, so it's a huge deal for us because, one, he gets to go where he wants to go, and two, he gets to learn to be a productive member of society. You know, I mean, these kids aren't just stuck in the corner anymore.
More than 6 million students with disabilities are enrolled in schools across Georgia, according to the Institute of Education Sciences, and less than half are currently enrolled in a post-secondary school.
Thanks for tuning in to Grady Newsource. I'm Mary Grace Shaw.
And I'm Valerie Burgos. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And stay tuned in tomorrow in this time slot for Grady Sports Stores. Good night.